Hello again. I've been reading with great pleasure of the 6 inspirational Barbie dolls produced to commemorate women who played a role in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. The idea is that these will encourage girls to see women as being integral to the battle against the pandemic, and so perhaps directing them to consider pursuing careers in science, technology, engineering or mathematics. So far, so good. A worthy enough aim with which few of us could find any fault. The problem is, though, that the people who devised the vaccine against COVID-19 were all white, with the exception of a few Indians. This is no good if you're hoping to launch a range of dolls in the United States. At least half will, in the interest of racial balancing, have to belong to ethnic minorities. Visibly ethnic minorities, of course. So once you've made a doll representing Sarah Gilbert, the woman who led the team which developed the first vaccine, who else can you make into a Barbie doll? After all, black people and Hispanics played no part in the scientific struggle to develop the vaccine. That is, of course, a very defeatist view to take. And luckily, Mattel, the company who produced Barbie dolls, managed to ensure that half the dolls in this new line belong to ethnic minorities. How they did this tells us a great deal not only about the relative contribution of black people and white in the world of medicine and science, but also about the relative value we place upon actual achievement as opposed to empty and vacuous ideology. 2 of the 6 new Barbie dolls are black. One is Chiki Oyuwa, who only qualified as a doctor last summer. What was her contribution to the fight against the COVID pandemic, we wonder? According to Wikipedia, Chiki Oyuwa is a Canadian physician, professional spoken word artist, and an advocate for medical education reform as it pertains to discrimination in medicine and the intersection of race and gender in medicine. Of course she is. I do not pretend to know what a professional spoken word artist might be. It sounds quite interesting. I'm not sure how you make money out of that, but I certainly recognise the rest of it. In short, she's a militant black activist and agitator. Elsewhere, I find that Chika's resolve has compelled her to remain proactive in the mentorship of racialised youth. I don't know what racialised youth means either. Presumably it means young black people. For these reasons, she has enjoyed her roles as co-president of the Black Medical Students Association, co-founder of the Black Interprofessional Students Association, and co-founder of Black Girl Brunch Toronto. Chika is dedicated to creating networks of support for scholarly and professional advancement within the black community and beyond. In other words, she's done nothing at all to do with the pandemic other than throw around accusation of racial prejudice and to agitate on behalf of black people. Surely a prime candidate for having a Barbie doll modelled on one. What about Audrey Croots, the doll with the epicanthic eye fold? She was born in Hawaii, so I assume that her ancestry is Japanese. Why does she merit a doll made in her own image? There, alas, I have drawn a blank. She seems to have signed a few things deploring racism during the pandemic, but apart from that, nothing at all that I can find. The other black doll is Jacqueline Gross de Yeshua. She's a Brazilian doctor who was part of a team which sequenced a variant form of COVID. The fact that Mattel decided to avoid featuring real scientists and doctors who have played a role in the pandemic in favour of people who have expressed opposition to racism is hardly surprising given the current atmosphere. Racial balancing, that means ensuring in advertisements, films, books for children, toys and every other aspect of life that at least half the people depicted in a group are black or Asian has become very much the rule these days. Of course, often it's not really balancing at all. The aim is really to have more black people than white, no matter what the percentage actually is in the population. There's a simple reason for this. Because everything today has become globalised, advertisements and films are seen across the world, not only in their country of origin. The internet has accelerated this trend. It may well be the case that in Britain fewer than one person in 20 is black, but when making an advertisement it must be borne in mind that anybody in the world might see it. Since most people in the world aren't white, it makes sense from that perspective to make at least half, and preferably more than that, of the people shown as being black or Asian. This can be quite irritating for people who live in a country like Britain, but the commercial logic is sound enough, and it's also to this demographic fact that Mattel are playing with their new range of Barbie dolls.